Geneviéve. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, Norma. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I want to welcome my good friend, my homegirl, hermana, sister, Geneviéve Jones-Wright, to join me today. She's the founder and executive director of Community Advocates for Just and Moral Governance, more commonly known as MoGo. So I want to welcome you this afternoon for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's always great to share space with you. So both ACLU and MoGo, we're two of the organizations with many other community partners that are part of CPAT, the Coalition for Police Accountability and Transparency Now. I mean, we all know since before George Floyd, we've been working on these issues for a long time, and we all know that these issues, go way back, that these are not new issues. They might be new to some folks, but they're not new to our communities. And obviously the entire country and world is reckoning with what, again, many folks have been working on for a long time in terms of racial justice and police accountability, and just reimagining what that looks like. And you're one of the key leaders here, Geneviéve, in our region that has been doing that work for a long time. Can you tell us a little bit about why PrOTECT is important for San Diego, but also for the country? Why are we working on this?
So first and foremost, PrOTECT stands for Preventing Over-Policing Through Equitable Community Treatment. And PrOTECT is an ordinance that seeks to address racial profiling that occurs in the city of San Diego. Through PrOTECT, we would like to eliminate the use of consensual searches and pretextual stops, which contribute considerably to the profiling of BIPOC drivers by law enforcement officers. So when we think about pretext stops and consent searches, these are a source of disparities in how officers treat people of color versus white people. By putting PrOTECT on the books, well, I'll say this, putting PrOTECT on the books is very important because we know anecdotally through the experiences of BIPOC people, as well as studies that have been commissioned by the city of San Diego itself, the ACLU, an organization that you head and lead, and even SDPD, we've confirmed that these experiences that Black and Brown people have been talking about are the experiences where Black and Brown people are treated and policed differently. And so, for instance, we know by way of our own stories and these studies that Blacks and Latinos are more likely to be searched during traffic stops, but less likely than their white counterparts to actually be found with illegal items. And this is not just a San Diego problem. It's a problem that we see across the state and across our entire nation. And it's not enough to say that some neighborhoods, mainly communities of color, are over-policed. Racial profiling is a problem that must be addressed. And so for this reason, we're fighting to get the PrOTECT ordinance on the books and adopted in San Diego and throughout our county.
It's great, Geneviéve. Many times for folks that don't have the lived experience of living in neighborhoods that are over policed, or, they might not, for they're not Black or brown and they don't experience that, right? They have a different relationship or a different experience that they have with policing. I guess my question is a little bit around, like, not everybody has that lived experience. The data is there. How much, we don't need any more data, but what do you think needs to happen in order to make sure that communities all across San Diego, right, north of east, that folks from throughout our region are aware of PrOTECT, and also what could they do about it to get plugged in to support CPAT in making this happen in the city of San Diego?
So we're looking forward to the PrOTECT ordinance being discussed and hopefully ratified by the City of San Diego's City Council in the fall. And so what I would ask for folks to do is to show their support, call in to their respective council members, and let them know that they believe that all San Diegans and anyone who drives in and through the city of San Diego should be treated fairly. We do have an Action Network page where folks can visit and engage with their representatives. We make it very easy for you to send a message to your council member expressing your support of the PrOTECT ordinance. And the link for that is actionnetwork.org/petitions/pass, as in PASS. We want them to pass PrOTECT and -PrOTECT. So you can go to our Action Network page, and you can also visit CPAT's website at www.cpatsd.com. That's C as in California, P as in police, A as in accountability, T for transparency, and then SD as in San Diego.com.
Thanks so much, Genevieve. Yeah, that's a kind of a new website that CPAT has. There's also a new commercial that I think just was released that we will put, on this video so that people can go to those links, share that video with others, and make sure that not only are you getting informed about PrOTECT, but that you're getting other neighbors and friends to take action, to support, to call their city council members. I guess I would ask Genevieve, what do you think is what's at stake? What's the current state of the campaign in terms of the politics of our city council? And the city council is elected by us, the voters. And so they're supposed to be accountable to the voters, not to special interests, right? Not to the police lobby, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm curious what your thoughts are in terms of the current political status and dynamics of the council, and what we as San Diegans should be thinking and doing to make sure that we hold our city council members accountable.
No, that's great, Norma, and I'll tell you why. Last November, San Diegans voted overwhelmingly. 75% of the voters acknowledged through their votes that there is police misconduct. Now, drawing a line, we know that racial profiling is an act of police misconduct. And so where you have 75% of the voters saying we need to do something, have a check on police misconduct, we have got to understand that that also means San Diegans acknowledge that police misconduct happens in our streets, and that racial profiling, which is now well and heavily documented, is a part of police misconduct. So we're looking forward to having our city council discuss the ordinance and vote on its approval. We're looking at the fall for the start of this conversation. Our very own council member Montgomery Stepp is going to be our champion once again. We look forward to her and her office shepherding it through. But what I want to say to the other council members is that it is not enough to hang our hats on Measure B. It is not enough to say that this is the one thing I'm going to do on this front, where we have a very big problem staring down at us. And this problem is racial profiling. And the city of San Diego has never taken steps to actually curb racial profiling. And what the PrOTECT ordinance will do is it will address racial profiling in a meaningful way. And so for those council members who are a little hesitant about taking tools away from police officers, as has been explained, we really have to think about public safety in a more comprehensive and a holistic way. And until all of our communities are treated fairly and equitably, we will never have public safety in a real way, because until the entire public is safe from being profiled, being safe from police terror, then none of us are safe.
That's great. Thank you, Genevieve. Obviously this is a national conversation, a national kind of movement, a national moment to kind of rethink and transform the way we define public safety and where our public resources go, right? Like you said, to really ensure that everyone is treated equitably, and that there's no racial profiling and there's no, all of those horrible things that we've been seeing on TV happens. California usually prides itself in like leading the nation, right? In terms of progressive values and progressive policies. And, San Diego's kind of changed a little bit and we're on the way, but there's much work to be done. What do you think is the opportunity for San Diego, to pass a transformative, important ordinance like PrOTECT? What do you think is the leadership opportunity for San Diego leaders to also kind of pave the way for the rest of the country? I'm curious what your thoughts are about that.
So the PrOTECT ordinance would allow for San Diego to trailblaze. It would allow for us to be a model for other citizens. I don't think that it should stop in the city of San Diego. I think that every single city throughout San Diego County should adopt this, every jurisdiction within our state, and certainly every city across the nation would be looking at what San Diego put on the books and implemented. And I think that the problems that we've been seeing with the erosion of public trust with law enforcement, because we see how communities are harmed through over-policing, that we will begin to start to build this trust that we hope will be maintained. And this is through holding police accountable and taking away some of the mechanisms that they've had at their disposal for many, many decades to over-police communities. And I think it's a first step. I think it's a great step. And I think it presents us an opportunity to pioneer something.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Geneviéve Jones-Wright, for spending a few minutes with me. And I hope that in the next couple of months, we get San Diegans galvanized to make sure that the city council votes to pass PrOTECT, and for San Diego to really lead and show the rest of the country that there's actually an opportunity to do something and not just, make a statement about Black Lives Matter or about racial justice, but to actually put something meaningful in the books that will transform that relationship between communities of color and policing. So thank you so much, Geneviéve, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.